If you did not pass the core stabilizer function assessment with the string, or in this case, the headphones, tied around your waist at belly button and L3 level, then what you want to do is this, is you want to use the string or the headphones, and you want to get into that 4-point stance the way that you did the assessment. And from here, you want to just practice inhaling, and you feel that string all the way around. Exhale, and then at the end of the exhale, engage, relax, inhale, exhale, engage, and relax. Okay, so that's the tempo. Now let me share with you guys, which will be easier for me to do if I'm not doing it. Let me share with you guys what we're actually focusing on through that experience. You're going to inhale through your nose, preferably. You're going to fill your belly. You're going to let your transverse abdominis expand and relax as the internal organs move outwards, because your diaphragm pushes downwards to open up your lungs. And so diaphragm pushes down into the organs, it pushes the organs outwards, and the transverse abdominis, this beautiful core stabilizer, lengthens and relaxes. Then when you exhale, your transverse abdominis, which is a primary muscle of exhalation as well as a deep core stabilizer, contracts and squeezes your waist, located right underneath this string, and it pushes the organs up into your chest cavity, and the exhalation occurs. So you're going to breathe in nice and big, let that muscle relax. On the exhale, you're going to notice that the string goes from what we consider like neutral position to, when you go into the contraction, the string goes very, very slack. That's what you're trying to feel for, is that very slack string when you engage. Then you come back to neutral. The string kind of, you can still feel it all the way around, but it's not tight. Then you breathe in, it gets tight around the belly. You go back to neutral as you follow straight through into the engagement. So exhale takes you to neutral. You follow straight through into the engagement of that transverse abdominis, okay? So that's what we're looking for as far as the feedback from the string is very, very slack when you've engaged. It goes to kind of a neutral feeling when it's neutral. And then when you breathe in, the string gets very, very tight. If you are having difficulty accessing this muscle and getting it to fire in this position, what might be helpful to you is to use the cue of trying to access the transverse abdominis through your pelvic floor, which is to say that if you try to engage the pelvic floor, which is the muscles that will partly help prevent you from going to the bathroom, okay? So if you think about just engaging and pulling up those muscles as tightly as you can, a lot of times when you engage those muscles, you feel the TVA, just like all of a sudden the waist cinches really nice and deep, okay? So as a part of this exercise, I would encourage you to get your pelvic floor engaged in this part of the movement anyway. And so in this case, if you're having difficulty getting the TVA to fire, remember, engage the pelvic floor and then engage upwards from there. And oftentimes that's the cue that people need to really get it to fire. Remember, exhale, and then follow through the exhale and engage, okay? And the reason this should work is beyond just connecting to it through the pelvic floor, beyond just being in our 4-point stance, which is the easiest way to connect to this muscle, we're also utilizing this engagement on the very back of our exhalation. And that exhalation is the contraction of the very muscle that we're trying to contract all the way, right? So we're already contracting it, but what we're trying to do is get it to contract even deeper. We're trying to get it to contract so deeply that even just sitting here in poor posture, I can squeeze that thing and I can get 3 fingers in between my body and that headphone wire by squeezing that transverse abdominis, one of the most important deep core stabilizer muscles that will keep you out of trouble, not just in the gym, but these muscles will keep you out of trouble in your daily life where most injuries honestly occur. Practice this exercise in the 4-point stance. You doing the cues that I shared with you, okay? Utilizing it going through your pelvic floor, utilizing the exhalation in the 4-point stance. When that becomes easy, then you can progress it from there to standing, to integrated with movement. But these are the things that your body, these are the skills and the neural connections that your body will have to have if you plan on lifting a kettlebell, or if you're like me, father of 3, lifting your kids, or anything heavy around the house. These muscles are the ones that keep you out of trouble. So from here, we are going to progress into some more assessments and more exercises that work more, larger muscles, and we're going to start to build more of the building blocks that we need in order to build up to the point where we can confidently say we are absolutely ready to start lifting kettlebells.